So hello and welcome to season 4 of the Mundane to Magical Online Summit series. As you probably know by now, my name is Louise Matson, and as always, I'm truly blessed to be your host. We've come to the end of this season of the summit, and I would really like to extend my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to all of the wonderful speakers who joined us this season, and to you, the audience, for whom this work has been created. This live call is my closing conversation, but also some wisdom sharing that Source has chosen to bring through me for you all at this time. As many of you may know, I'm an intuitive channel and a conduit for energy healing, a way shower and spiritual guide who serves the global community by helping fellow starseeds, sensitives and light workers to fulfill their soul purpose and missions, and those who are newly awakening to evolve on their spiritual path of soul embodiment. Now, I've been an energy healer and a channel my whole life, but recently experienced an acceleration in my spiritual growth, resulting in me embodying my soul essence and really opening up to the higher dimensions and realms. During a session, I connect with the most appropriate, highest energy beings to bring about healing and higher guidance to help advance others on their ascension paths. My aim is to assist others on their awakening journey along their own path of disempowerment to standing in their sovereignty as embodied multidimensional creator beings. Now, the topic for today's conversation is living your unlimited life and reframing your relationship with the elephant in the room. When I was preparing the summit, I knew that Source wanted me to do a live call, but I didn't know what it was that I was going to speak about. I say that, but in fact, that's not exactly true, because an aspect of me knew that Source wanted me to finally share what I'd been channeling since March this year at the start of the lockdown period in the UK. But my egoic aspect was fearful of how it would be received. And that in itself is really what this call is all about, the fear that limits our life experiences. Because the elephant in the room throughout 2020 has been death. And we're all here for a purpose. Some of us are consciously aware of what it is and others are not. And my purpose is to assist in the awakening process of humanity. My highest essence of self channeled pages and pages of wisdom around this topic in March, and I felt the clarion call to finally share it with you now. But I could easily have ignored it. Even as I wrote the email that went out yesterday, I wasn't fully ready to share. It was only after my call with Nicholas and his repeated clarion call through my soul contract chart to come out of hiding that I knew I would do it. My fear of sharing this topic today was that people are not ready to hear it, and that I would be ridiculed or judged, ostracized or isolated because of it, and that I would lose clients and therefore my livelihood. And that's a real fear for us all, as in previous lifetimes, that's actually what happened, you know, when we spoke our truth. Now, it is such an auspicious time in Earth's history that we are living in, and we're all here because our eternal souls chose to be here at this time. We're here to shift consciousness on a global scale and to create new Earth, fifth dimension and beyond embodiment for all in our living lifetimes. This journey is all about feeling the fear, connecting to the illusion of separation and the energetic memory of all the past experiences and traumas, and doing it anyway. To know the risks and not only to acknowledge the clarion call, the pull of our hearts to act, but to actually act in alignment. Like millions who have gone before us in this lifetime, like the student who, you know, stood in front of the tanks in Tiananmen Square, or Nelson Mandela, who worked to release his people from disempowerment, slavery and segregation. They knew the risks to their freedom and their lives, but they did it anyway. And I'm in no way saying that what I'm doing today is in their league, but here I am in my own little way, feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And so it's my absolute pleasure and honor to share space with you on this call, on this very, very auspicious day. I noticed some of you are putting things in the chat. Hello, Petra from the Netherlands, and Majka, I've probably not pronounced your name properly at all, from Scotland. And Germany. Oh, thank you. Oh, Micah, sorry, I do apologize. Okay, let's do this. Hi, Claudia. Oh, I'm glad I've helped you shift. And do you know what? I am so grateful to all of the speakers. I loved every single interview that I did. Everyone was different, as they always are with the summit. And I think that that's the beauty. That's what I love about this summit. It's like my channeling. I have no idea what's going to come through. And I have no idea where Spirit's going to guide me, and which way showers and teachers and light workers and just absolute beautiful radiant souls Spirit's going to put in my path to share with everybody. Yay, Dana from South Africa, wonderful. Yes, I think we're all on this journey of being seen, and that's really, I think, why Spirit has really pushed me to do this call with this particular topic. So let's jump in. So the topic of the call is the elephant in the room. And one of the things that came through for me was it was clear to me at the start of this pandemic that I wasn't afraid of the virus. I wasn't afraid of catching it, and I wasn't afraid of whatever symptoms I may get, and I wasn't afraid of dying. But that said, I didn't particularly want to experience any of that as a reality. But I knew that if I did, it would be because it was meant to be, and that there would be a lesson or a gift within the experience for either me or for somebody else. And I think I wasn't scared of it because in my lifetime, I've had many near-death experiences, and I've had numerous times in my life where I would have welcomed death because it felt so much harder and much more painful to actually be alive in those moments. And I've actually met with death in shamanic journeys, and my personal view is that it's actually far better to connect with death and make friends with it, and to have death as an incredibly powerful ally than to fear it. And I've learned that when you stop fearing death, it frees you to truly live. If your everyday thoughts are determined by the fear of death, and that can also be the fear of change, because, you know, death is occurring moment by moment as we die to who we were a moment ago, and, you know, create space and allow who we are to become to form. So our everyday thoughts on, you know, determined by our fear of death impacts our emotions, and they impact ultimately on our behaviors. So our behaviors are directly related to the depth of our fear of change or of death. Your whole experience of living becomes merely existing, and that is certainly what I have found on my journey of disempowerment to reclaiming my power and standing in my sovereignty. And let's be fair, none of us came here to merely exist. You know, we came here to experience the full length and breadth of living. But that's not to say that our experience of living is going to be all unicorns and fairies and rainbows. We are all going to have ups and downs, peaks and troughs, because we've all come here as a soul with missions and contracts, agreements, and all the baggage from previous experiences. You know, we came here to experience certain things, and some souls have come here to assist others to experience certain things. So, you know, things happen in our lifetime that it's not necessarily that we actually came here to experience it, but that we came here to assist somebody else to experience, possibly loss, possibly pain. You know, it's all agreed upon. So whatever the experience is that we're all playing, whatever experiences we're having, we're all playing our parts in this beautiful dance that we call life. And it's our personality self, that aspect of ourselves that it is really attached to our identity in this physical body, and our personality that judges our experiences as either good or bad, right or wrong. But from the highest perspective, everything is perfect and everything is exactly as it should be, and exactly as we planned it to be before incarnation. So when we release our fear of death, our fear of annihilation or non-existence, and it's our egoic fear of that, because our highest aspect of selves knows we're eternal, and this is a momentary blip on the timeline of our entire existence. And when we allow ourselves to embrace the understanding that we really truly are eternal beings, that we're all pure energy, pure consciousness, and that we exist in this now moment in many different states, on many different levels, and in many different dimensions, all at the same time, then we free ourselves from the judgment, the duality and the polarity of this experience of living within the physical plane. Oh, I'm just going to read some of your comments. Yeah, we know we have to let go of things that no longer serve us. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Spirit was showing me years ago, you know, what's in your backpack? What's in your backpack? It's just like, you know, let go of all this stuff, all the baggage that we've brought with us. Let go of all the baggage that we've generated, that, you know, in a way other people have put in our backpack with our consent, but, you know, consent through not knowing any difference, because, you know, you come in either asleep or you dumb yourself down from a very early age. So, you know, no judgment on any of it, but it's like we've got all this baggage in this backpack, and it's like Spirit is saying, particularly this year, clear that backpack out, because where we're heading, you can't take that stuff with you. You can't ascend, you can't embody your highest aspect of self if you're still clinging on to all of this low vibrational energy and attachment. You've only just done a 5-day soul contract reading training with Nicholas. I loved his interview. Oh, yes. Yes, it's great. It's so interesting when you see your soul contract. And you kind of have that realization of why you came here. And again, it's not necessarily going to be the specifics of I came here to do a summit. It's like, I came here to do this, and this may look in a multitude of different ways. You had a fear of living for years, Petra. Yeah, I can, hold my hand up to that one. So the topic of death, the concept of death, is a topic that is avoided, and it really has become the elephant in the room, because from a human experience, if you're really attached, completely and utterly attached to your personality self, you believe that that's it, that you live and then you die. However, this is the paradox, for if that's completely your truth, that you're here for a one-time thing, then surely you would want to make the most of the experience and you wouldn't limit yourself. And that was what Spirit was really sharing with me in March, this kind of paradox of kind of having that illusion of separation to the truth of ourselves as eternal beings, and really connected to our personality self, and that, you know, really strongly believing that this is it, this is all we've got. And yet being too scared to actually make the most of the time that we have in this life. So, you know, putting this paradox aside, you know, if you did believe that this was it, you would live life to the full. You know, you would make it the most that you could make of it, and you'd get the most out of your life as you possibly could. And yet, when our identity is completely attached to the personality self, we have such a fear of death that we want to avoid it at all costs. And that cost is living life fully. That cost is living your unlimited life, your soulful life. So if we look at the personality self-identity construct, and I know when Spirit gave me that, I was like, seriously, that is a mouthful. versus the multidimensional creator being identity construct, which is an even bigger mouthful. Here's what Spirit was showing me. So we'll start with the personality self-identity construct. And this is where you identify completely and utterly with being this physical body, whether you're male or female, the roles that you play, your material possessions, the status in society you hold, everything that you identify yourself with, that's who you are, and that is all that you are. And it's also that you are here for a one-time thing. You know, you're born to experience a finite amount of time in a physical form, and then you die. And that your truth is based outside of yourself. It's taught, it's learned from school or books or from other people. And you are dependent on external things for your well-being, because your identity is so encompassed in your roles, in the external aspects of life, that your well-being is completely dependent on those things that you've attached your identity to. So whether it be a relationship, whether it be a job, whether it be the amount of money you have in your bank account, doesn't matter. So when we look at the multidimensional creator being identity construct, this is where you know you are more than your physical form. You know that energetically you extend far beyond your physical vessel, and you're more than the many roles that you play, the possessions that you have at this time, or your status in society, and that you're not your thoughts and your emotions, but you're merely the thinker of your thoughts, or the observer of them, or the feeler of your emotions. That in fact you are pure energy. You are an individuated divine spark of the all that is. You are pure consciousness, radiance, divine love and light, existing throughout all time, all space and dimensions, in this now moment, having a human physical experience within the third dimension, fourth dimension paradigms, but also existing within all of the dimensions at the same time, because there is an aspect of you that is 3D because you've got this physical form, but there's an aspect of you that's 4D because you know that there's more to you than this physical form. And then there's all the aspects from 5D and above, all the way back to source, that are existing within you, that you may just not feel you have that connection to in this now moment, but they're there. And people often say to me, you know, when I'm channeling, I'm just talking to myself. Well, yeah, I am. I am talking to myself, but I'm talking to a much higher vibrational aspect of myself, you know, that may look like a dragon, or may look like a unicorn, or may look like just a pure, you know, energetic being. It may just be a color or a sound frequency, because it's so high vibration, it doesn't even need to take form. So you're existing. You exist in all of the dimensions at the same time, and in many realities and timelines. And you also know with this construct that there are infinite possible realities or timelines for you to explore, each based on your choices in each given moment. And that you came here to experience certain things in this lifetime and play a role within the collective experience. You also are aware and know deep within you that there are no mistakes and there are no victims or perpetrators, because all things were agreed upon prior to incarnation, and that we've all played all of these roles in previous lifetimes and other realities or timelines. So we've been everything. We've been the villain of the story, and we've been the victim. We've been the hero and the heroine too. And you're also knowing that you're everything that exists, and everything that exists is you. You're an aspect of the all that is. So I am you and you are me. And I am this table, and I am the trees outside, and I am the air that I breathe. And you also know that death is an illusion, because everything is energy, just vibrating at different levels, different frequencies. And energy cannot be made or unmade. It just changes form. And in this construct, you're also connected internally to your truth, to your inner wisdom, your inner guidance. It's not outside of yourself. You know that there is nothing outside of you that you need. You know, and the way that we connect to our truth is, you know, as we're going through this journey of reconnecting is, you know, we hear something or we read something or we're guided to watch something or, you know, a conversation with a friend and something just rings true. You know, that's what discernment is. You know, how does this feel? This energy that I'm ingesting, absorbing, how does it feel? Does it feel like it rings true to me, or does it not resonate at all? It just feels off. So, you know, it's a process. This lifetime is a process of allowing ourselves to reconnect with, on a much, much deeper, much more visceral level, this aspect of the multidimensional beingness construct. So just out of interest, and I've never done this before, so this is completely new to me, I'm going to do a poll because I just want to see how many people view themselves as their personality self and how many people on this call know themselves to be their eternal soul consciousness having a human experience. So I'm going to launch the poll and we'll see. I don't know where it's going to show up on your phones or anything. I've never done one before, so this is an experiment, so apologies if it if it doesn't work out. It's looking pretty comprehensively that people are feeling as if they're their eternal soul self having a human experience, which is where I'm at. If I had pressed it, that's where I would be too. Yeah, I think it's pretty unanimous, which is lovely, which is nice. Can you speak about resistance and how to release it? Absolutely, absolutely. I think one of the things that I'll do is I'll speak to that towards the end, because part of this is about us being able to shift. You know, Source wanted to bring through how we shift from the kind of personality self construct, which we all to some extent have. I mean, it's lovely seeing the poll that, you know, 24 people who answered the poll feel that they are an eternal soul having a human experience. But I mean, just the fear that I had about having this conversation shows that I have an aspect of me that is still attached in some way to my personality itself. And for as long as we're in this physical form, we're going to have that. We're going to be attached to our personality self. Yeah, you shift between the two. Absolutely. And we'll shift between the two, depending on the situation, depending on the scenario, the people that we're with, you know, because we have all of these beliefs and programs, automatic programs running through us, like running through our operating system that just automatically kind of kick in. And releasing, you know, the resistance is that it's all those automatic programs that we've got, you know, the stuff that's built into our cellular memory before we even come into this incarnation. It's that baggage that we've brought through, and the baggage that we receive and learn within this lifetime as well. I mean, you know, I can pretty much guarantee that pretty much everybody on this call would have been either burned at the stake or drowned for a witch, or, you know, harmed, tortured or murdered in some way, shape or form in previous life experiences, or been the perpetrator of such. So we've got that within our field. And it's like, you know, we've literally created vows or contracts or agreements or promises to ourselves that say, I'm never ever doing that again, because that really didn't work out well. So, you know, the resistance is that. It's the baggage, it's the contracts, it's the false encodements, this is the distortions within our DNA that we carry intrinsically, energetically from other lifetimes, but then also that we, you know, through whatever life experience we were having in this. I mean, for me, my journey was disempowerment, standing in sovereignty, but I've had countless times, you know, countless experiences where I kind of thought, okay, yeah, I'm getting the clarion call to do this, and I would hit that wall, I would hit that roadblock, because it's just like, no, you know, absolutely no way, no, I'm not going down that route again. And we'll each face that resistance differently in that moment. And it may be that part of this life experience is that actually, like I say, there are many times when I could have left this planet. There are many times when I could have given up and just gone, do you know what, thrown in the towel. This is too much. I know what I was thinking coming down here. And I could have left, but I didn't. And so there is an aspect of, you know, we talk about the soul contract chart. There is an aspect of strength that we bring through as a talent within the chart that kind of goes, right, get your big girl pants up, girl. Or there's, you know, an experience that we go through and we try something and the sky doesn't fall in and land on our heads. And so it's like, okay, I'm building up this little pocket of evidence to say this is actually okay. And I can let go of this belief, and I can actually bring evidence to the table that disproves it. So there's various ways that we can release it. And of course, we can do the energetic work. We can do the energetic work to release it as well. You know, I do that all the time with clients. You know, it's like deprogramming the programs. Oh, it says share the results. I'm just going to share the results with you all. 24 out of 24 say they're eternal souls. It's great. Okay. So you're not yet awake, but you're awakening. I mean, who's fully awake on the planet at the minute, to be honest? I'm not fully awake. I flip in and out. I spend more time awake than I do not, but you know, we still have moments. The only thing that concerns you is whether death will hurt. Yeah, absolutely. Pain is a funny one, isn't it? However, I can't remember who it was that said it. You know, there's only so much pain that we've agreed to come and experience. I think it was Judy, actually. She said there's only so much pain that we agreed to come and experience. And then when it goes beyond that we kind of check out, and the soul experiences it, but we physically don't. And in a way, I can see that, because I went over the handlebars on my bike once, and I remember flying through the air going, not my wrists, and broke my elbow instead. But I was in pain all over my body, and I actually left my body. And I remember being above me, looking down on me as the ambulance came and popped me in the ambulance. And I remember my son in the ambulance, and the ambulance person, and me in my body was chatting away to my son, trying to make him feel okay, joking about things. But I was actually above myself, because I didn't want to feel, you know, it was like I didn't feel any pain at the time, because half of me was outside of myself. So there is that experience that I've had as well. You feel like Claudia says she feels like she's split in mind and actions at present. Yeah, absolutely. There is no point in lying to ourselves about anything, because we know it's complete and utter bull. So that's, I mean, that is part of my journey, is to be integrity is a big part of my journey. So to be authentic is to not lie, and to admit completely about where we're at and what we're going through. Okay. Sandra says, I understand that everything is energy. However, right now I'm cornered with work and financial issues, figuring out to sort things out. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we're going to have those moments. We're going to have those moments where we're kind of feeling the pull of something, and yet, like I think I've mentioned previously, there's like other dominoes that need to drop into place before we can actually take an action step. And so there's one thing about knowing something and knowing change is going to come, but not feeling that it's the right time for that change to actually take place. So again, you know, it's surrendering, but also surrendering to where we are in this now moment, and knowing that, you know, if we're open to those doors of opportunity, to the possible timeline realities to step forward for us to take that positive action step, then it's going to come. And at that point, we're going to know it. It's just going to feel, yeah, okay, I'm drawn to doing this. I'm going to take that leap of faith, or I'm going to take that step in this direction. So Karen's saying that you've been trying to clear all this for 17 years. So why is it taking so long to clear? I mean, there's a number of reasons for that. I mean, you know, everything is perfect and imperfect timing is coming through. And like I say, there's lots and lots of other dominoes to take place, but also, you know, we can have an aspect of resistance. There's also layers. I'm being shown layers of an onion too. It's like, you know, you have been clearing. You have done a lot of clearing, but there's still that aspect to go. And I remember right at the beginning of the lockdown, I got really triggered by the manipulation and the control. And I've been clearing manipulation and control my whole life. It was just like, good God, you know, seriously, is there any more to clear? But I was so triggered by it. And it's like, okay, fair enough, whatever. Went out on the land, had a good release, cried, you know, got really angry, whatever. Just got that energy out of me. And it was just like, okay, within a next moment, I was done, you know, and I was then channeling something really lovely. So not judging the process, I think, is basically one of the big things that is coming through, you know, just allowing your process to be your process, and certainly not comparing your journey to anybody else's. That said, what they're also showing me is timelines are accelerating massively, massively. You know, I mean, I came into existence in the 60s. Everything was really slow. Everything was super, super slow. You know, I mean, I bounced backwards and forwards, dipping my toe in, running away, dipping my toe in again, running away. But things have really sped up. I mean, the ascension process now is like the ascension process on speed. It's just crazy fast. You know, the amount that we can clear in an instant is super fast. What we can manifest is super fast. You know, it's like, and I think it's only going to get even faster, in all fairness. Globally, collectively, we are clearing a whole load of fear and trauma from the Earth's plane. Collectively, it's not just ours that we're clearing, it's the collective. And I know that I'm really being drawn to purge. I'm really being drawn to get as clear as possible, because the amount of light that's going to come in December is immense. If you are clear, you're going to be able to embody so much more of that light. But everybody's journey is their journey. And it's like, you know, don't judge your journey. Your journey is perfect. And that is one thing that I have learned. And as I will attest with my soul contract reading, I've learned the hard way a lot of the time, that, you know, everything is perfect and in perfect timing, and it is what's meant to be, will be. You're in your 2362 life. Wow, you've cleared timelines from the Ice Age. That's amazing. To be honest, I haven't bothered to look back on mine. I know I've been around the block a few times, but I've not got a number. Yes, that's true. You wouldn't be here if you weren't awake. And that's what I mean. I mean, we flip-flop, you know, we are awake to a certain degree. Doesn't mean to say that, you know, I mean, I used to call it that I had ostrich tendency, that I would dip my toe in and I would go and have my amazing experience, and then I would put my head in the sand like an ostrich and just go, la la la, I'm not listening, because, you know, I needed that time out. I needed to be, I was still dealing with being a human for a bit. So I hope I got time left. I'm already 57. Honestly, I wouldn't worry about your age. I really wouldn't worry about your age. You know, we are eternal beings, and this body has the ability to regenerate. So, you know, if it's the right thing for it to happen, and, you know, we're at that place where we're containing enough of our light, You know, there's people who exist as breatharians. They don't need food, and there are people now who are regenerating their cells, and it's really down to really kind of being mindful of what we're ingesting, you know, and in all ways, you know, what we're ingesting through the food, through the water, through the air that we breathe, through the stuff that we see on the television, you know, the things that we hear. You know, it's all down to a lot of other factors, and age really is just a number. Okay, I do have so much control and abuse hurdle to me, and I have questioned why. What have I done or need to do? It's something from that, Claudia, I would just say, you know, it's what your soul chose to experience for whatever reason. And what I have found is that my pain points in my life is my mission. So whatever I experienced it to know the contrast so that I can assist those who are awakening. You know, we are like they're showing me oh God, what they're called. Call of the Light Brigade. We're the Light Brigade. Okay. Weird. We're the forerunners. So we're going to have experienced all this stuff, not necessarily because we needed to experience it. Believe me, we've experienced enough of it in previous lifetimes, but we're here so that we speak the same language as those who are awakening, those who are, you know, going to be awakening from December onwards, from 2021 onwards. You know, we're here not just for our experience, but the people who are on these calls are the souls that have been around time and time and time again. We've bought the t-shirt, we've got the hat, we've got everything, we've got all the paraphernalia and the merchandise, and we've specifically put our hands up and gone, do you know what, I'm in for this moment, for this time, to assist everybody else. The whole of humanity, the whole of the global consciousness on this planet, I'm here to assist. So we're going to experience whatever. Mine was disempowerment, to reclaiming my power, so that we're in a position at this auspicious time and beyond where we are 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of those who are coming behind, and we can assist them. We speak their same language because we've felt that pain. So don't judge your experience in this lifetime. Bonnie says she doesn't feel like she's in resistance, but her family seems to be. So does that mean I'm in resistance and do not see it? Again, we've chosen a date, time, place of birth, what planets were in alignment, the vibration of our name. You know, we've chosen the family. It's all a perfect part of our story. Now, it may be that, you know, standing in your sovereignty, standing in your truth is to say, okay, I love you, but no, you know, I don't agree with you. And, you know, and that it's okay to be in your truth and to be different. And also those lessons are the hardest lessons from a personality self perspective, because it's easy to play in the field out there where it doesn't matter. It's easy for me to be in my truth around people that have no impact on my health or well-being, but bring it into my most intimate relationships. That's where my disempowerment occurred. I was a senior manager in the NHS. I kicked ass. You know, I was able to make really hard decisions for the greatest and highest good, but I was able to make really hard decisions. I had to be. But in that setting, no problem whatsoever. At home, with loved ones, with my family, with my parents, with my sibling, with my partner, that's where I really struggled, because that was where my attachment was. You know, my well-being depended on them loving me. My sense of well-being depended on them loving me. And therefore, I couldn't stand in my truth. I couldn't be in my truth because I didn't want to risk losing those relationships. So yeah, part of my journey was recognizing that was where, you know, that there was these disparities. I could be me over here and in this setting. So why do I just crumble like a big crumbly thing over here? And why am I like jelly and my foundations are just like quicksand? So there is always something perfect in our experience. Please tell us more about December. I wish I could. I really do. All I know is it's going to be huge. I'm really excited. There is going to be such an influx of light. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know how we're going to experience that. I knew something big was going to happen in 2020. I didn't know it was going to be the virus. So, you know, they don't show me. I'm not a predictive channel. You know, some people have that, but I don't have that. But I'm excited. So do you know what? Whatever it is, it's going to be great. Either way, there is no judgment. Yeah, come on, December. Come on, December 21st. And the eclipse, which follows my birthday. Yeah, I'm super excited, super excited. Anyway, let's carry on. I lost my place now. Where were we? Where were we? Right, okay. So with the personality self-identity construct, there's this fear of death seemingly built in that quite often extends to fearing all change. So death isn't spoken about. It's something to be avoided and vilified. And this construct really leads to limitations and restrictions that we place on ourselves and on our experience of life, because it's all part of that avoiding death mechanism and program that's running within the operating system of this incarnation. And so we stay in destructive relationships or miserable situations, or, you know, we stay in a job that we hate because we fear risking the death of the relationship, the loss of my status, the material things that I have, all those things that we identify ourselves with. And believe me, I felt all of those when I left the NHS. You know, my ego freaked out completely. It's like, what are you thinking? I was on a very, very good salary. You know, I'd been promoted to a high level. I had status, I had authority, I had people under me. You know, everything should have been great, but I couldn't be my truth. I wasn't allowed to share the channeled messages that were coming through for the people in my team. I was having to make decisions based on things I didn't agree with, because they were based on budgets and finance and not based on the greatest good of the clients or my staff. And the dissonance became more and more. And it was harder and harder for me to take, until in the end, I realized that actually this is killing me. Quite literally, this is killing me. If I stay in this job, I will die, because I'm killing myself from not being in my truth. It got to that point. And again, that is one way of dealing with resistance, because ultimately, you came here for a reason, you came here for a purpose. And it's kind of like along your timeline, you've got these points of destiny. And the universe kind of goes, whoa, you're way off track. Okay, I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to place you on this timeline. That means that you're going to be in this point here where you need to be at this time. So for me, it usually relates to ill health, because that seemingly is the way that I actually, you know, pull my big girl pants up and just crack on and surrender and have faith and trust in the divine plan and what the guidance is that I'm receiving on the inside, and kind of allow myself to let go of all of the illusionary belief systems and constructs that my personality self has running within its operating system. It's like when the universe nudged me down the stairs and I was paralyzed, that was like, okay, yeah, I'm done being disempowered in this way. And I took massive steps, massive leaps in alignment with my truth. And then with the NHS, it was like I was slowly killing myself. I would literally come home, burst into tears, sob for a bit, cook tea, and then be so exhausted I would go to bed, and then I would rinse and repeat. I would just do it over and over again. And it was like a slow death. I'm being shown like a slow cooker now. Okay. Yeah, so it was like slow death. So for me, it was my health. You know, I kind of have this tipping point that when my health gets so bad, it's like, you know what, it doesn't matter what it is, because, you know, it can't be any worse than where I'm now. So then that kind of trips me over, and I you know, take that leap off the cliff or whatever. But it doesn't mean to say that you don't still experience resistance. It just means that you're kind of tapping in on your inner resilience. And again, resilience is built from experience. It's like a muscle. So all of those so-called negative experiences that you've had in your lifetime have brought you into that perfect moment, where you're able to overcome this hurdle, you know, to cross this tipping point, because you've got the toolkit. You've already been developing that muscle. It's just, you know, giving you that bit of something that tips you over the edge so that you can then make use of it. So with all of this kind of resistance and you know, fear of death, of relationships and everything like this, it leads to an experience of existence and not living. You know, your heart might be calling you to do something new and exciting, but that clarion call is numbed out, ignored, or demonized as it's far too risky to even contemplate. And I mean, how many of us have been in that position or are still in that position to some degree? And it's kind of like you're saying to yourself, you know, I want to live for as long as possible, and therefore I'm going to avoid everything and anything that I believe puts me at risk of death. But what Source is saying is that living? Because if you're living purely to avoid death, which is actually unavoidable in the personality self-construct, then, you know, you're basically, your life becomes a series of ever-decreasing boxes, a series of ever-decreasing experiences. And is that really living? Now, the other thing that Source wanted to share was the paradox within this personality construct, that, you know, people fear death, but they fear certain things. Like, we can be really selective about the things that we fear death with. So with the current COVID situation, we're currently fearing COVID because we've been told to fear it. But we'll happily have fluoride in the water, which is a poison, or we'll eat junk food, which is covered and filled with poisonous chemicals. We'll drive cars, which are really risky, and we'll smoke cigarettes and things like that. You know, we'll make lifestyle choices that are actually quite risky and harmful to our health. So it's that paradox of, you know, we are selective about the things that we allow to block us, and what risks we are willing to take with this life experience that we've been given. But my experience with death is really very different. And wouldn't it be wonderful to reframe our relationship with death so that it became like the most powerful spirit ally that you have? You know, what if we didn't avoid death, but we had open discussions about it, and that death became our best buddy, and we invited it to take an honored seat at the table? What if we were taught at an early age about life and death cycles, and how to work with them and embrace them? Now, I've learned through my life that there is a time for us to die. You know, it's a bit like in, you know, the soul contract is kind of written in what we came to experience. My experience has been that we kind of have a time that it's going to happen. So whether you see this as a predisposed point in time or just part of the soul contract or agreement, it doesn't really matter. But we hit choice points in our life experiences. That's what I've been aware of, where we experience certain situations in life and are given a choice to leave or to remain, because we have free will. So my experience through this lifetime has been that I've had lots of near-death experiences. And like I say, there have been times in my life where I would have welcomed death, being really emotionally, mentally, and energetic at some really low ebbs, because I just couldn't handle the density of living on the third dimensional earth plane. But at each point, I knew it wasn't my time. And so I would put my big girl pants on and get on with it. But I also know of a lot of people who miraculously survive suicide attempts or really horrific accidents, which would normally have meant death for somebody else. And I know of loads of stories of people who've literally said that they were given a choice by a being of light whether to come back into the body or to go, or that they were told it's not your time and were kind of sent back into their bodies. So it really seems like there are opportunities or times where we can check out if we choose to or not. But if it's not your time, then divine intervention occurs and you make that miraculous recovery or whatever. So with that being the case, why would we fear death? If we allowed ourselves to connect with and commune with death, then we can know when our time is up from an internal perspective. And we'll know if we have lived a full life. So where would the remorse be in leaving? It feels to me that remorse felt at the point of death comes from regret. And I love what my dad used to say, which was, it's better to regret something that you have done rather than regret something that you haven't done. To me, regretting what we haven't done yet, or what we haven't experienced, or the fact that we didn't make the most of our life and therefore wanting more time. But would you want more time if you're only going to waste it on existing? What would be the point of that? To me, you would only want more time if you're actually going to make the most of it. Like Ebenezer Scrooge in the Christmas Carol, you know, he was visited by three spirits who showed him the outcome of his current lifestyle choices. And so he could change how he was living if he chose to experience a different outcome. But it would make sense to want more time if you're going to do something beneficial in the world with that extra time, if you're actually going to live and experience life fully. So I know some of you might not like this topic and it may trigger or challenge you. And some people who connect with this call may not want to hear it, and some may not agree, and that's absolutely fine. But this year in particular, and over the next few years, I feel we're going to be called globally to ask ourselves some really serious questions about, you know, what life is about. And now I'm being reminded of the call with Kaylin about the Venus cycle, which is all about where are your values? You know, what do you value? And it's got the Inanna death rebirth story running through it as well with the Venus cycle. And maybe that's why I was so drawn to doing that work. So the questions to ask ourselves is, you know, what is life about? You know, what is it for you? What's the point of incarnating into this physical form? What did we come here for? And when you invite death to the table, when you make death part of life, you don't fear it anymore. You acknowledge its presence and for some commune with it, but you don't fear it. Now, when I met with death, I realized, you know, sitting across the table, having a cup of tea with the Grim Reaper, I wasn't scared of the idea or concept of death. And he actually said, no, you're not, you're scared of living, which in a roundabout way meant that I am ultimately scared of death, because if you let go of all your fear of death, of change, of loss, and allow yourself to live each moment to the full, then it's no holds barred. It doesn't matter if you lose everything, you know, because you know you're living your truth in each moment, and your true identity is more than all those things. So I found that really an interesting conversation, but I found it a beautiful conversation to actually have. But how many of us even kind of go there to have that conversation with that aspect of ourselves? But it's interesting. So in each moment, allowing death of the old self and allowing space for the new, you know, life and death goes hand in hand. It's like we see it all the time in nature with the turning of the seasons, and in our own lives with the different life cycles. We're constantly dying to the old self and renewing ourselves, rebirthing and turning from one state into another. We did it in childhood to adolescence. We do it when the children go off to university and let go of that aspect of them that was dependent on their parents. When people become an adult, become self-reliant, the death of retirement, leaving the role of the worker, the provider, and really stepping into that wise woman, wise man role. Parenthood is a death of being a single person and being an individual and suddenly becoming the nurturer and the provider. So we go through it throughout our lives. And in so many cultures, and particularly the indigenous cultures, they still have the shamans and the wise men and women who really understand the process of the cycle of death and rebirth in the wider perspective of life. And that times of transition are celebrated. You know, they have ceremony, it's undertaken, and it's welcomed as a part of life. So what Source really wanted to share today was the initiation into the process of redefining and adjusting our concepts of death to begin the process of welcoming and embracing death as part of life so that we can really live more fully, to fully reclaim our power, to fully stand in our light and our sovereignty and live the life that our soul came here to experience, and to shift our perspectives of ourselves from our personality self to our multidimensional eternal creator beingness. So when we reframe our relationship with death, we get to redress the balance, because we have been way off balance for most of our lives. And we release the distorted belief patterns that we've been taught relating to the way we see and understand life and what is the role death plays in it. We get to start making a connection with death and reduce the fear and allow ourselves to actually live fully. So the last thing that Source wanted to share was what we can do about it and where do we start. And first of all, we need to lay the foundations of where our relationship with death currently is. So allowing ourselves to tune into and identify our beliefs and perceptions of death and where they may have come from. Was it our parents, our religion, our culture, what we're taught in school, and how we truly feel about death in this moment, where we're at now, without judgment. You know, these are all done without any judgment at all. Then it's about allowing ourselves to explore and release those beliefs that are ready to be released. Because understanding, you know, peeling the layers of the onion, everything's not going to go in one go. You know, that would be too much for us to handle. So releasing what's ready to be released. And then starting to connect with death in whatever way feels good to you. So whether it's shamanically through journeying or meditation, being in nature and just seeing the life-death cycles and the eternal beingness of all things, and dissolving the illusion of death that we all hold. And then allowing ourselves to reconnect with the natural life cycles of our own life. Maybe doing a life map of the different transitions that we've had in our life. And really celebrating those transitions, you know, bringing ritual and ceremony back into the lives around those transition points. And then ultimately shifting our perspective of ourselves from the personality self identity construct to the multidimensional creator being identity construct. And really allowing ourselves to get to know our higher aspects of self, you know, our soul purpose in this lifetime. So I'm just going to see what messages were in the chat. The irony, fearing death daily keeps us from living. Yes, absolutely. It's like we're in death already. Yeah, it is. Your mother was a carer, Michelle. My mother was a carer for elderly relatives, so I understood death from a young age, and I'm grateful for this experience. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wasn't allowed to go to my grandparents' funerals. You know, I wasn't allowed. Death was not something that was ever spoken about in our household. It was literally the elephant in the room. It was like I wasn't, as a child, allowed to be in any way involved in it. Even when our pet, my beloved dog, died, I wasn't told. I wasn't allowed to be there. I came back from university one day and his bed was gone. He was gone. It was like, WTF. I was devastated, absolutely devastated. Oh, I'm glad that you've loved this conversation. Thank you. You feel like you've had many lifetimes in this lifetime alone, Claudia. Yeah. Yes, we could look at it like moving from one day to the next. Yes. Surely when we ascend in the body, we can become immortal. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, that's one of the things is that, you know, we are taught that there are limits on what is possible. That's what we're taught. We're taught to limit ourselves in so many ways. But why? You know, why isn't immortality possible? You know, if I'm embodying enough of my light that I have, you know, enabled my body, my physical vessel to raise its vibration from the third dimension into lower, higher, fourth, fifth, and I become crystalline, then I could live thousands and thousands of years. There's no reason why I couldn't, because the cells would be regenerating, you know, with thought energy and everything. We would literally just be making it so, a bit like Jean-Luc Picard. You know, why are things impossible? Things are impossible because we believe them to be so. You've had a few, Michelle says she's had a few near-death experiences and the energy was so beautiful, I didn't want to come back. Yeah. I know it does feel like a bit of a bummer sometimes. Yeah, but it's perfect. It's a perfect experience. And I think in those experiences as well, it's kind of like I experienced my mum's death energetically. And she had dementia for a very long time. She was 40 miles away from me at the time of her death. I knew it was going to happen because she appeared to me on my bedside and said, I'm off. But it took 2 years for her to actually pass physically. But I remember the night that it occurred, I knew it was going to happen and I couldn't sleep. And then all of a sudden I felt this wave of loss flow up from my feet up through my body. And then it was immediately followed by bliss, by absolute bliss, and just this sense of release. It was like the shackles had been taken off. And I felt truly blessed in that moment to experience my mum's passing, because it was a very visceral, very real reminder that it isn't the end. You know, it's like there was that moment of bliss of the release from this physical existence and into just the most unbelievable, unimaginable sense of love and freedom and all things wrapped into one. It was just incredible. Did I choose that my parents would deny me the right to see death? Yeah, I mean, you know, we've chosen all aspects. You know, we chose our parents, we chose the experiences that they were going to bring through for us. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. There's some people with raised hands. Oh, there's one person with a raised hand. I'm just going to allow you to talk. And then I want to do an activation, and I'm really, really aware of the time. So somebody called SR. Hello, are you? Can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute yourself? Someone called SR. Got a lovely picture on my screen, but no. Oh, yeah, you've unmuted yourself, I think. Are you able to speak? I can't hear anything, I'm afraid. Okay. Sorry, I can't, nothing is coming through. I can't hear you, sorry. Okay, right then. Pamela's just saying her mother came to her when she was leaving as well. and you got to say goodbyes. Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is. It's truly beautiful. Okay, I'm aware of the time, so I really want to do yeah, I really want to do the activation. Alan has said, I had a near-death experience but was forced back. I still don't understand it. Well, I mean, maybe allow yourself to connect with death and ask the question why, or, you know, that aspect of your higher self, and ask the questions. There are reasons. We're here to do certain things. You know, maybe it's because you are here as a teacher, as a guide, as a way shower in your own way to assist everybody who's coming behind. And you know, it's just that you haven't fulfilled your mission, your soul purpose in this lifetime. So, you know, that's a really good reason why we are pulled back, you know, not allowed to leave the physical incarnation until, you know, we've kind of done what we came here to do. All right then. So so I want to take you through an activation and a healing, because Source wants to give you the experience of being both your personality self and multidimensional eternal consciousness self as well. So if you just want to get yourselves comfortable, allowing yourself to settle in to your physical body, to the space that you're in, and allowing yourself to relax, allowing your eyes to close, and allowing your awareness to fall on your body, the different roles that you play, connecting in with your personality self, the awareness of yourself in your physical body, of your physical body, your bones, your muscles, your organs, your tissue. Really allowing yourself to connect in with your physical form, you as a person, a man, a woman in a physical body. And I'm just going to call in your healing teams, those divine beings of love and light, those aspects of you from the higher dimensions who are here in this now moment to bring forth the perfect healing, perfect guidance, perfect experience for you. And just dropping in around you, wherever you are, and creating a perfect space, a chamber of light around your physical body and the space that you're in. And whilst you come on this journey with me, they will be working within your energetic body, your physical body, your energy field, healing, adjusting, releasing, clearing, enabling you to let go of that which no longer serves in this now moment, enabling you to fully surrender to this process, this experience, and allowing you to bring in more and more of your light energy, clearing your field, recoding, reactivating, closing any portals, doorways, gateways, clearing contracts, agreements, all of those roadblocks that we've spoken of. Within your cellular memory, your DNA, your Akashic records that are creating obstacles. On your pure, true organic ascension path at this time. So as they work within your field, just know, trust that whatever you experience is perfect for you. And if you struggle to see or feel, know that this work is still taking place, and that the integration of this work will be done with the utmost ease and grace, and that at some point you will receive the aha moment of realization of the work that is done today, all in perfect timing for each and every one of you, regardless of whether you're here live on this call or watching the replay. So once again, just having that awareness of your physical body, and allowing your awareness to focus on one aspect of yourself, an organ, a bone, a muscle. And then bringing your awareness down into the individual cells. And then from that point of awareness, bringing your awareness down into the chemical compounds that make up those cells. The individual atoms and electrons. All the way back until you have the awareness of experiencing yourself as pure light. Just allowing yourself to fully experience yourself as this point of light. And pouring all of your consciousness, the known, unknown, and unknown aspects of your being, pouring all of yourselves into that individuated particle of light. Allowing the awareness of yourself as divine love, divine light. Pure diamond white photonic light with crystalline shards of rainbow frequencies. And now allow the awareness of yourself as this point of light to expand. Allow the awareness of yourself as this diamond white photonic light, crystalline light, to expand so that it fills your entire physical structure. Your vascular system, your nervous system, your muscular system, skeletal, endocrine, every single one of your organs, your brain. Allow that light to expand, radiating through your entire physical body, casting the rainbow frequencies to each and every aspect of yourself. Now allow this awareness of light to expand so that you fill the room. You fill the very building that you are in. Allowing yourself to expand so that your light, the divine love and light that you are, encompasses the province that you're in. Allowing yourself to expand even further beyond planet Earth, beyond the moon, the planets, and the stars, within this solar system. And allowing your awareness of yourself to expand beyond the galaxy. And expand through all dimensions. Encompassing your unicorn self, your dragon self, your ascended master self, your angelic or angelic selves, your galactic selves. Allowing yourself to expand more and more and more. Feeling your radiance, your diamond photonic crystalline white light. Expanding to its limitless capacity. Expanding your light and consciousness to contain all that is. And realize yourself as the all that is and the all that you are. And within this infinite field of divine love and divine light, allow yourself to connect with the perfect light codes, transmissions, transfer of consciousness that you require in this now moment to enable an increased capacity to embody this infinite consciousness into your personality self-experience. You may just experience this as connecting in with different points of light within your infinite field of oneness. Receiving light language, light codes, tones. Or just different high vibrational frequencies. Just allow. Knowing that you are receiving the perfect energetic transmission for you in this now moment. Allowing yourself to let go of any lower consciousness, any lower frequencies, creating more and more space for you to connect in with the highest vibrational light transmission. All is one here. All is perfect. You are perfect. For you encompass all that is here. All that is. And when you're ready, just allowing your awareness to begin to contract again slowly, gracefully, taking in the highest vibrational aspects of yourself. The galaxy, the solar system, the earth, your province, your building, your physical body in the space that it's in. And coming into your heart center, bringing all of your awareness into your heart center. And allowing the consciousness, your individuated divine spark, to fill your heart center and radiate those light codes, those transmissions, and all the consciousness you've received. To be received and absorbed into the very fabric of your energetic and physical being. Allowing the re-encodement of your DNA, your Akashic records, all the way to your minutest aspect of self. And as you allow all of this consciousness, these light codes, this transmission to be absorbed within your physical being, your physical vessel, your energetic fields, and the many layers, levels, and dimensions that you exist in this now moment, your team of light, your healing team, is working within your field to reconstruct, regenerate, recode, and reactivate those aspects of you that are ready to come online at this time, to bring clarity, awareness, and the ability to connect with your deeper purpose, your inner strength and resilience, and your deep inner knowing, the truth of who you are, fully and wholly. And how you came here to be. For some, this will bring peace to your journey till this point. For others, strength, a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, clarity. And for others, a connection to your truth that has long felt lost. Releasing the energies of isolation and abandonment, separation, disillusionment, mistrust, enabling you to step fully with trust and faith, embodying your highest aspect of self, so that this aspect of self can guide your personality self in the releasing of control as you surrender your egoic will to your divine will in unity and unison with love and grace. And as your healing team complete the work that was to be done this day, in this moment, for your greatest and highest good, we give thanks for their presence, their assistance, their love and warmth as they step back, but leave the container of light for you to remain in throughout the integration process. And allowing yourself again to place your awareness on your heart center, your chest, becoming aware of the rise and fall of your chest and stomach as you breathe in and breathe out. Knowing that each time you breathe in, you are breathing in your source self. You are breathing in pure divine love and light and inspiration. And as you breathe out, you are letting go of all that no longer serves you in this now moment and beyond, creating the necessary space for you to fully receive and embody all that you are. Allowing yourself to become aware of your physical body, bringing movement into your fingers, into your toes, stretching. And when you're ready, only when you're ready, allowing your eyes to open and welcoming back. How is everybody? Oh, good. Excellent. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You will all have received the perfect healing, guidance, energetic transmission that you needed in this moment to assist you to release your fear of death or reframe your relationship, to release the roadblocks, to release the resistance, to stepping fully on your path, stepping into your service work. And if you felt inclined to listen back again, knowing that you would receive the perfect healing in that now moment too. I am feeling very relaxed. I was holding space, but it was nice. It was really beautiful. Oh, Nadine says it felt like a nuclear light bomb illuminating the planet. Well, maybe that was what was needed today, huh? Excellent, excellent. Well, hopefully all of you have managed to come back. So I'm just going to speak to my free gifts and special offer in case people aren't aware. They are on the free gifts page. They're also underneath my photo on the upcoming calls page and the replay page, which can be found on the mundane-to-magicalliving.com website. Along the top menu bar, I think the upcoming calls page, the replay page and the free gifts page are all available. If you get on any page on the website, you can click on any one of those and it'll take you to those pages. So the free gifts, I've provided 3 light encoded activations that I channeled a while ago now. The first one's raising your vibration to achieve clarity and focus. And this takes you on a journey to kind of release the baggage. And then we've got opening and activating the threefold flame in the heart center and connecting in to divine will, divine wisdom, divine love. And then those, when they come together, opening the gateway to divine truth. And then just a short one to release negative energy using the violet flame. Because, you know, this year's not over. 2021 is probably going to have some kind of releasing, some kind of transitioning, or at least reframing of this relationship with our transitions, our life transitions. So, you know, you may feel the need to clear your field. So doing that in whatever way that works for you. So my special offer, there's 2 packages. The first is a 60-minute session with me where I am an open channel and bring through whatever perfect healing and guidance is required for you in that moment. I don't judge. I completely step out the way and surrender to source to take over and bring through whatever is perfect for you. Often our ego might have an idea of what we need, but you know, I leave it up to source to decide. And with the 60-minute session, you also get the complete season 4 interviews, downloadable versions of the audio and video files to have in your library of ascension wisdom to fall back on at any point in time. And then package B is the 60-minute healing and guidance session plus a 90-minute soul contract reading session. So Nicholas gifted one person on the call a free session. I also do soul contract readings. So if you're interested in having your soul contract reading provided to you, it's like a spiritual blueprint, spiritual map of your life purpose, the challenges that you came here to face, the innate talents that you have to overcome those, and also the kind of the goals. Mary says, my voice is so gentle during the transmission. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, so package B is the 1-to-1 session with me plus a soul contract reading at a highly discounted price. So if you feel drawn to connecting with me further, feel free to check out the special offers. Or if you just want to take the free gifts, it's perfectly fine. Everything is perfect and in perfect timing. So I hope you have enjoyed this call. I hope you have received whatever it was that you needed to receive from it. That's what I always trust, that the universe is going to bring that through for each and every one who connects with this. It's been an absolute honor and joy to hold space for another season of the summit and to bring through and share the beautiful speakers that we've had and the illuminating conversations and all of the different directions that we were taken down this season. And what an amazing night for me to finish the summit on. But, you know, I always trust that everything is perfect and in perfect timing. So all love to those of you in America who are currently voting for the next president for the next 4 years. I do believe that it is an incredibly important aspect of our global journey. And so I am constantly sending love and light to you all in America and to everybody across the globe. I have felt honored to share space with you, to energetically connect with you, with your consciousness, whilst holding the container of this season. And it would be an honor again to share space with you in the next season, which shall be end of February, beginning of March next year. So today is the very last call. Tomorrow, I will be gifting everybody a 5-day replay period. So if you came in partway through, or if you missed some interviews for whatever reason, and again, no judgment, you know, you get exactly the messages that are perfect for you. So don't force yourself to listen to everything, you know, be guided, allow yourself to be guided to the perfect conversation, perfect speaker, knowing and trusting that, you know, that is what you need in this moment. But there will be a 5-day replay period where all of the interviews will be opened up and you can revisit them, the ones that you've listened to and loved, or listen to the ones that you might have missed that you feel really drawn to listening to. So that's my gift to you. And yeah, just thank you so much for being here, for joining me, for sharing space and bringing your radiance, your beautiful energy to this community, to this space, and you're what it's all about. You know, we're all what it's all about, each of us individually and collectively. We are all one, and we're part of the all that is. We are the all that is. So it's up to each and every one of us. So never feel like it doesn't matter what I do, or I don't have power or influence over anything. We each do. We are incredibly powerful spiritual beings. We are incredibly powerful creator beings. And in each moment, with the energy that we ingest and the energy that we radiate out, we are creating reality in each moment. So if we're experiencing something in our reality that we are not enjoying, that we're thinking, well, you know, that doesn't feel like fifth dimensional consciousness or new earth to me, then take those steps that you are able to take in your individuated experience to bring those frequencies in. So it doesn't matter what that is. It, you know, if it's connecting with nature and building that relationship with nature, if it's just releasing and detoxing yourself, we're doing it collectively. Everything that we do within our own journey for ourselves, we do on the collective consciousness field for everybody. And as I say, sometimes when we're clearing, it's not just our stuff. We're actually clearing it for the earth. We're clearing it for the collective. Those old stories and programs of victim and perpetrator and, you know, all of that, that has been really kind of in our face. We've been clearing that collectively. So whether we've been doing it consciously or unconsciously, we're doing it. We've been doing the work. So kudos to everybody out there for being your beautiful, individuated divine sparks. And here's to you all radiating your love and light out into the world and allowing yourself to radiate fully and come out of your own hiding place. You know, come out, peek out from your own shrouds or layers of protection and be your truth. You know, shine your light because you are glorious. You are beautiful beings. So, from my heart to yours, as always, so much love, so much love. And hopefully I shall see you all again on the next one. Take care. Bye.